here on the show celebrate up and coming artists, and we just celebrate people that make good, innovative music. This guy, he's been behind the scenes for a very long time, not only doing the songwriting and producing, but also doing the PR. Where they do that at? But he does it all, and now he has a new EP out, Places I've Ever Been, and I only got to listen to it maybe like a few days ago, and it's very rare that I listen to an EP, connect really quickly, and get the person to hear on the show. Very rare. But we did that with Drew Scott. Please welcome me here for the very first time officially as an artist, Drew Scott.
Thanks for having me, man.
Drew, first of all, shout out to you. I love the EP.
Thank you.
And the thing is, when you listen to it, then you understand the influence and the chemistry that you have with Dawn. So it's like, oh, wow, okay, now it makes sense. Where that sound, evolved from. You know what I mean?
Yes. I really appreciate that.
And it's really great because you've been behind the scenes for quite some time. What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to step to the forefront?
Man, I think it was maybe my manager holding a gun to my head and saying you need to do it. It was, for a long time, like a lot of the records that I've done, like with Michelle Williams and a lot of the artists, like a lot of times what they would tend to have me do, like when they would hear the record, they'd be like, well, who's on the phone? And I'd be like, well, me. And, oh, I want to keep you on this. Like, so I would do like a lot of background vocals for a lot of the records that I've gotten. I'm singing the background records.
Wow.
A lot of these records. So I've always singing. I've been singing since I was a kid, but really wanted something first and foremost before I, went and started to do my own artistry thing. I just had to make sure that the setup was right, the plan was right, the timing, everything. So it was all about the right time, like literally, like being in the right place at the right time, and having the momentum that I've had going on as of lately. Like it just seemed like it just too intense to just put something together. I think it was something that a lot of people that heard a lot of Don's music, and I'm singing on a lot of the records like backgrounds, a lot of them, were asking like, well, when are you going to come out with a project? So it's just all about timing, and I are now.
And when you put this, this EP together, what was this music you already had created, or did you create this music specifically for this particular EP?
I wanted to make sure that my first project that I put out, I wanted to make sure that it definitely that you got this is Drew Scott as an artist. I didn't want it to be a typical R&B album. I didn't want it to be the typical male R&B album, where women and having ladies man popping bottles at the club, just the stuff that unfortunately where R&B is right now. I want it to be something that definitely took you somewhere. Like it's atmospheric. It's even if you've never been there. By the time you finish listening to the EP, there's people and listeners to be like, wow, you know what? I may have never been to Paris, but I damn sure felt like I was there. Or I may have never been Gotham City's a fiction place, but you know what? When I hear that record, like I know that's who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. There are so many. And I described the EP as a mood, and to me that's like the highest compliment you can give music, because it's supposed to make you feel something, and that's exactly and it just plays right through, because sometimes you're just like, oh, I need another song. Another song, and it really plays right through, and it all meshes it together, and I'm always impressed when artists come here on the show and they put out a free EP that to me you could easily sell and make tons of money off of. Can we just go through some of my favorite songs on the EP, and you can just tell us a brief little story behind them if you can. Okay. God of Vegas. First of all, shout out on the title. I like the title.
Thank you. Well, each song is named after a woman that either I've had experience with or my friends have had an experience with, or just observation. God of Vegas is a really personal song of mine. I've never told anybody this before, but Vegas, I have a friend that lives in Vegas. She wanted to get into the entertainment industry, and pretty much by any means necessary. And unfortunately, the way that it went, he ended up getting involved on a lot of the wrong things. And this was a girl who was come from a really strong like background, two-parent household. They were a family that she never had for anything, and she ended up into stripping, but then it ended up into prostitution. So it was one of those things where it's like you have such a strong foundation, and went to church, was a church girl. You've had such a strong foundation, like growing up, for it to become this way. I'm like, where is God in this situation? And maybe from her aspect, where is God in this situation? And if God is here in this city, like I hope that He hears my cry for this girl to get some help. Kind of thing.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that story. The my favorite song. I tweeted you that this is my favorite song, and because I'm obsessed with Paris, and one day I probably will live in Paris. And the background of my iMac is the Eiffel Tower. So when Sex in Paris came on, I was like, oh, my theme song. Tell us about this song.
Sex in Paris, I'm the same as you. Like, I've never been there before. From what I have meant to be and from what people have told me about it, like, it's on my bucket list of places to go and possibly like live for a couple of months. But it was one of those records where I really got inspired by just the thought of like what Paris has to offer, just the city of romance and the city of love. So it's one of those things that when you think of sex, like there's such it goes either one way or another with sex. Like it's either, you don't know this person, they're a stranger, so there isn't really intimacy in that sense, or you become attached to it. So I was thinking that it from the sense of like sex in Paris with a stranger, but because it's the city of love, like I ended up falling in love with that person. You know what I'm saying? So it's a one night stand gone wrong because I ended up giving my heart to. So it was like in the second verse, like I say, we made love, but I wonder if she loved me, kind of thing. So it's like I fell into the trap of falling in love with a one night stand with the person who may not necessarily have those same feelings as I do.
Oh, ouch. Well, it's so funny, and that's the great thing about music, that everyone has their own interpretation of the music. And I guess maybe I was so wrapped up in the whole idea of being in Paris that I'm like,
right.
I totally forgot that this song is about sex in Paris. Maybe I'm just
not labor romantic. It's sex.
I was like, wait a second. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Right.
I'll get there eventually. I was just in my own, because you set the mood. The music is setting the mood as if you are in Paris. So I've been caught up. I'm in Paris. I'll get to the sex, but right now I'm in Paris.
Right. Exactly.
What because that's my favorite record. Do you have a favorite record on the new EP?
Oh man, it changes every listen to it. But as of lately, I think it has been God of Vegas, just because of the visual that we're going to be shooting at the end of the month. This concept, this treatment that I came up with, it's a movie. It's kind of like one of those things where I won't give it, but it's one of those things where if you've ever been to Vegas, Vegas is Sin City, it's for all its vices, but what if those vices were in mean? Like, you can never judge it by its cover, or more importantly, you never know what the next person, sitting right beside you that's gambling, you never know what they're gambling for. They might be gambling because it's an addiction, or they might need the money, or they might be saving their life. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Wow. Oh, I'm
that's
excited.
kind of like what. So that's kind of what God of Vegas is. It's like you don't know, what the next person sitting beside you is going through. So you can't really judge them for their sins, like without knowing, like if their sins are into me, kind of thing. So that's been my favorite record as of right now.
Wow. All right. Oh, so are we gonna get more visuals? And you just said
absolutely, yeah. I'm planning on doing as much as I can. That was kind of like one of the reasons why I wanted to put it out for free. Just to really like get people's opinions and feedback of what records that they liked, and and kind of go from there as far as like what we choose for the treatments. But for sure, like you can expect about like at least like 3 or 4 like different videos for this. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. If you guys just tuned in, I'm here with Drew Scott, or Drewskis, as everyone loves to call you. You really started in this business behind the scenes, producing and writing for a lot of really great people like Luke James, Norman Richard, Michelle Williams, and Bridget Kelly. All friends of the show here.
Mhm.
But most people are very familiar with your work with Dawn, and can I just say, Armors On, that EP is still. When you were coming on, I was like, I need to play that again because it was one of my favorite EPs when it came out. Can you tell us how you and Dawn first linked up? Because you guys have a chemistry that you cannot deny.
Well, it's funny because we first met when I was actually with her boyfriend at the time, Q from the Music,
Oh,
and Q was doing his own solo project, and I guess she dropped him off at the studio, or she ended up coming to the studio later that day when we were recording. So she told me, like, Dirty Money is done, as tour. She was living in LA because we were trying to work for a while, but it was because of the whole Dirty Money thing and the recording and touring that we got a chance. But she said, I'm here in LA now, and I was like, okay, well, come back tomorrow. Let's work tomorrow. And it was her, myself, and my partner in crime, Carla Carter. Like the next day, we ended up doing "Pick Me From You," and from there on, like from that record on, we were like, something is special here. Like we got something special. Just definitely like explore it and see like what we come up, and that's how we first started working. So kind of like the we kind of set the bar like with the first record. So we were like, okay, well, how do we top this, kind of thing, and it was chemistry. It was undeniable chemistry for sure. It was one of those things that I think that God definitely puts people in life, for a reason, and I think that it was definitely one of those ones to explore each other's, creative sides and bring out the best in each creatively.
the funny thing is, Drew, a lot of your fans and the Dawn fans were hitting me up in my Ask FM, asking me questions about everybody else but myself. Like, oh, have you heard Drew's new EP? You hear about Drew and Dawn breaking up? So they were the first ones to let me know that you guys weren't working together anymore.
Yeah,
What
we're
happened?
not. I did a really good run. We were working together like 2 years, and I just feel like, it came to a point at a time that I think that it's unfortunate how we ended up not working. But I think that when you're in this business, and I said this before, when you're in this business, you go through a lot of shit to get to where you want to be or where you desire to be or you more importantly need to be. I think that at those times that we become vulnerable and it's at those crucial moments that the people that you surround around you are either going to make you or they're going to break you. And unfortunately, in this situation, it's broke us. And it's one thing that I invested time, she invested time, so it hurt. Like when we stopped working together. But it was one of those things that I think that it needed to happen. I think that it needed to happen, and it happened. I I wish that it could have went a little bit different than what it did, and how it ended up happening. But that's the nature of this business. That's the beast of this business. You work with people today, and tomorrow it's not always the same area. So, but I definitely wish her the best luck.
What happened with the because she has the new album Blackheart that's coming out, and I know you guys worked on material for that, but she said that material won't be coming out.
Yeah, that material won't be coming out. And it's our respect to those that devoted their time and effort and talent into her project and moving forward with the project. So it won't be coming. But I know that she's working with a new group of producers and writers. Excellent. So we'll see how it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna leave the shade to the side because people were tweeting me some stuff about the new music, but we're gonna leave that to the side. Um, with you, Drew, I mean, like I said before, there was a chemistry that you guys had, but not only were you musically working together, like you guys were a team, putting out this record, And so
Yeah.
I can only imagine the devastation of all of that falling apart, it happening. I mean, because when it's just a small group of people and then everything fall apart like that. I mean, how did you make peace with the situation? Because you sound like you're at peace with the situation.
I am. I am at peace with the situation. I think really just focusing on my own craft
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped me, like really like focus on what I needed to focus on. It was one of those things where it happens and shit happens, but you have to make the best of it. So it was one of those where I've actually grown, an artist and as a producer and a writer working with her, and I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure that our creative is kind of intertwined with each other, and I think that we've both grown like artistically. So really focusing on my craft, I kind of like really allowed me to kind of have another outlet,
Mm-hmm.
to put my feelings out there, and there's actually a song on there that is about the situation, but I'll let people listen to it and
Oh,
figure it
don't do that! Oh,
out.
right after the show, I'm gonna fucking listen. I mean, that's the great thing about music, that you can tell these stories and get your emotions out, so creatively.
But
I mean, I know never say never, and you never know that you guys may collaborate together. I feel like you were her dark child, so like dark child was to Brandy. I feel like that's what you were to Dawn. Um,
yeah,
have you created things recently that you were like, you know what, this would be perfect for Dawn?
no, I haven't. To be honest with you, I think it's one of those things that I'm kind of one of those people that I have this, and it might be a gift in a person, but I'm always moving forward and never look back. So it's one of those things that, to me, like, when it's done, it's done. And I hate to say that, and I hate if it devastates anyone, but at this point, I can say that I don't think that we're in a space where either of us would probably return and work with each other. So no, when I'm creating, I like to create a specific sound for artists. I like to, meet with them and really kind of get into their head, inside their head, and like really figure out what makes them tick. So I tend to, like, when I work with artists, like, I tend to create like a specific sound specifically for them. So I haven't, that Dawn sound is Dawn sound, and I won't replicate that for anyone else.
The if you guys just tune in, I'm here with, I mean, first of all, Grammy nominated producer, songwriter, also public relations on the other side. We're going to talk about that too. But he has a new EP out, Places I've Ever Been. We're linking you to that on our Twitter and our Facebook and everything like that, so you can download it. We're talking all about that and so much more. I know you talked about, moving forward and everything like that. And as I said to you before, you guys were a team, not just musically, but just
Right.
everything that you were putting out. You were in the band, you were doing the PR. You guys were doing it, and I gave kudos to Dawn, but I also gave kudos to everyone that was behind the scenes helping her do that, because to do that independently and do it so efficiently when major artists can't do that, kudos to you guys.
Right.
And I think, like you said, you came together for that moment for whatever reason, and now that you can kind of go your own separate ways. But I know in this business, when you are working so closely with people, that's not just business relationship. That's family.
Right.
That's your friend.
Right.
There has to be that part of you though that has to make peace with that side of things. Have you made peace with the friendship? And rewind, was there like a blow up in regards that everything separated, professional, friendship, everything was done?
Yeah, everything separated. I think it's one of those things that, I'm fortunate for how it kind of revealed itself, and I won't get into details because Steve's not here to defend himself. But there were things that were said. There were actions that were, and if that friendship, then I really don't want it. It's kind of one of those things. So we haven't, since the split, like, we haven't. And I don't know if we'll ever have that talk. I'm around. My number hasn't changed. I'm sure she had hers hasn't either. But I don't know. It's something that I can't say that it'll never happen, but as of this moment, I don't think either of us are speaking to each other at this point.
Well, and first of all, shout out to you, Drew, for because sometimes when artists come here on the show and they know that people are going to ask them certain questions, they're like no, none of those questions. I have to say you are free to answer everything, and we really do appreciate you being so open and honest.
No, I'm gonna keep it real. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100, you guys.
But Drew, more importantly, your music is out here. If you guys just tuned in, Drew Scott has a new EP, Places I've Ever Been. One of my new favorites, and look, I'm being honest, 100. I just started officially. No, that's not true. Because remember when I messaged you, Drew? I was like, can you send me a link to the music?
Yeah.
that's when I originally started listening to it. But when I really started to, because I was like, okay, I need to decide if I'm gonna have Drew on the show, so I need to really listen to the music. So I was just playing it through, and then, certain songs that stood out to me, and Brooklyn I like as well. The music is a mood, and like I said before, that's such a high compliment for me because a mood is when the music makes you feel something, and that's so important for artists. Venus Fly Trap. Can you tell us what Venus Fly Trap is about? What is the story behind that song?
So Venus Fly. Venus flytrap is, it's a plant that captures its prey and won't let it go. So what I was thinking, because of the places I've never been, I was thinking, all right, well, let me break it up. Like Venus, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I was like, and the record kind of sounds like trap music. So I was like, Venus fly trap, but like the record is talking about pretty much a girl who parts will say has me trapped, like I'm a victim to her. and so hold up. So I'm trying to keep it as G-rated as possible, but yeah, pretty much.
I mean, online radio, you can be as descriptive as you want, but
it's pretty much about a girl whose sex and love, everything about her is so fly that she has me trapped. I'm her victim. And I know that it could mean like the end of me, but you know what? It's like, hey, at least I went out with a bang. Shit.
Wow. Yeah, because first of all, I started out as a musician myself, singing, songwriting, all good stuff. So I can really appreciate when artists come here. That's why I'm asking these specific types of questions that you probably won't get anywhere else when it comes to the stories behind the songs. I'm so fascinated with your interpretation, because then I'm thinking, oh, well, I thought this meant,
Right. And that's the beauty of music, though. That for everyone, there's a different. It speaks and tells a different story to everyone.
Definitely.
Which is amazing, and I'm glad to definitely that you have a different interpretation than I do. Because music speaks different for everyone. And someone that's going through, a certain situation might identify with a certain record differently than the person that even wrote it or the artist that wrote it. But it's always exciting for me to hear what other people think that the records are talking about.
True, because I know we're focused on your music, but you do write for other people and produce for other people. First of all, I mentioned Luke James, Bridget Kelly, Michelle Williams, a bunch of people. What projects are you working on now besides your own?
I just took a break. I'm in with Treasure Davis. She's on RCA. She's an amazing writer and artist. What we're creating right now is ridiculous. And then I'm working with another artist named Masabi. She's on Warner Brothers. We're working on her EP right now. And then I'm doing some K-pop stuff. I'm going over to Korea.
Wow.
And I'm going to Korea in October to work with a couple of really big K-pop artists. And it's just kind of all over the place, like in a good way. It's not just limited to like one genre. It's multiple genres. And I also wrote on in Casey's project. I co-wrote on Ain't All Bad.
Oh, I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite songs, actually. Hold up. Wait. No, I love that song because it was one of those songs that just kind of caught me. I was like, oh, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, Drew. Okay. All right.
to Harmony, by the way, on that one. He's
Harmony's
phenomenal.
family of the show. Harmony and
Yes, he is.
Harmony's family.
I know he was on your show. Yeah,
We love Harmony. But can we talk
yeah.
about Sevyn? Because Sevyn right now is one of my favorite new artists.
Mhm.
And you've worked with her, right, on her new album?
Yeah. I've been writing a couple records for her project.
Like, how would you describe that?
Man, she's one of the artists lately that I've been really excited about. Just because of what she embodies, like like it's its own thing, but it's also so reminiscent of like or like that time of music, like where you had these like female crooners, but Sevyn can croon, but she'll take it to a place like where, like, from the records that I've been hearing, like, she'll just take it to a place where it's like, I mean, damn near rivaling like like Beyonce. I'll say it. Like, I mean, it's like
Ooh.
she is.
That's a big thing to say.
Yeah, no, she's not playing. Like, she is not playing. And I admire her just because she's come from like two different groups. She was in TV4, which was to Chris Stokes like way back in the day, and then she was to Rich Harrison's group, Rich Girl, which didn't work out either, which was just as an amazing group. And now, she's really taken the bull by the horns with her own solo project, and she definitely knows like what she wants. It sounded like to me, definitely from the record, that like she is not playing around.
Wow.
So I'm like, if you gonna do it.
I mean, first of all, you're comparing her against some Beyonce songs, so I'm like, okay, I mean, first of all, some of the songs that she's already released, to me, they just keep getting better and better. How many songs have you worked on for the project? Or are you currently?
Well, I've done about like 4 or 5. Like, I've written them. She's been back from New York to LA, so I don't know like if they're going to be. Like, I don't know if they've made it. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of like a waiting game when you're writing for like other artists, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. If you guys just tuned in, Drew Scott. I mean, Drew. I think I tweeted you just a while ago. I was like, Drew, are you Jamaican? Because you have so many damn jobs. I mean, you're in the band, you're producing the music, you're writing the songs.
I've heard that before.
But you also had a PR background. How did you get involved in that side of things?
It's funny because I actually got involved through my brother, who is a director of lifestyle marketing at Warner Brother Records. And at the time, he was working for BET, and I just came out to LA for college. And he knew, like, music was a passion of mine. He was like, hey, this is like the BET Awards. And he was like, you should work, they need volunteers, like, for, like, PR and a whole bunch of different stuff. He was like, but I think that you would be a really good fit. He was like, and it's a great way to meet people and possibly advance your career. So I ended up working for the award show, and I ended up being there for the whole entire week. I only needed people for, like, 2 or 3 days. I ended up staying the entire week. And just when I started making things happen for people, I really started to enjoy it. Like, that's just who I am as a person. Like, if I can help in any type of way, I'm always. So it was one of those things where it was actually working, and people, like, they were being interviewed. Some people that you may not have even known, like, they were like emerging artists, and getting them on the radio, or getting them on TV, or getting them, an interview in like LA Times and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? It's actually what I've been doing my whole entire life, but it's on a professional level. I kind of fell into PR, and then it kind of took off from there. Ended up working at a couple of firms, from everything from Jimmy Kimmel to Next Top Model to Stone to working with individual celebrities like Marion and the TG Stanley and Nick Cannon. So and Keisha Cole. So it just ended up kind of I fell into it by accident, and it ended up somewhat of a career.
I mean, and it's a key thing that's gonna, I think, is going to help you with your own project and your own stuff.
Absolutely. And understanding that side of the business, and then like what it takes to market an artist, what it takes, to really communicate and connect with fans from a digital standpoint to not digital standpoint. It's a lot. I think that people get stuck on just creating the music side. That when it comes to how am I going to get it out there and how am I going to get it out the best way possible, I think that a lot of times, people don't know how to do that. It definitely helps me kind of navigate and say, okay, this is the goal, or this is the project, and this is the goal. This is where this needs to be heard. This is where this needs to be seen. So it definitely helps in that perspective.
You mentioned that you worked with Michelle, and I know she's working on new music. Are you a part of the new project?
No, I'm not.
Why the hell not, Michelle?
No, no. It's in hands. Harmony is executive producing her project as well. I've heard the records, and need to do anything on this. Like Michelle's project is ridiculous. Like Harmony does such a great job, and he's one of the people I admire because I feel like we're the same women that he gives artists their own signature sound. It's not something that you'll necessarily hear that's transferable. Like, oh, it might work for Michelle, but it might also for this artist or this artist, or it works for Fantasia. It might work well for this artist. He creates a niche for them that it's their album, it's their record. It's not like it went to someone else and it didn't make their project, giving them leftovers. So that's what I heard from Michelle. She doesn't need anything. I would love to, but she doesn't need anything from me on this project at all.
Wow. Well, Drew, first of all, thank you so much for being here. You have to come back when you put out more music.
Have me anytime.
Anything that you want to come and promote. First of all, I love the new EP. Places I've Ever Been is available everywhere right now, guys. We're going to be posting it throughout the website, Facebook, everything tonight. So make sure you guys download it and get your copy. We're going to play a couple of the tracks off of it right now. Drew, thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to the videos. You gotta. Look. We'll talk.
They're coming soon. We're shooting 2 at the end of this month. So we're looking forward towards the end of this month, beginning of September.
Drew, stay on the line. We got to talk. But I'm gonna play.
Right.
I'm gonna play one of my favorite songs right now off of the new EP. It's called "Sex in Paris." You're listening to TKIFN Campus Friday.